Worthless? Absolutely worthless. My father's voice thundered through our suburban home as he threw my laptop into a cardboard box. 23 years old, and what do you do all day? Sit in your room typing away at that computer. I stood frozen in the doorway of my bedroom, watching as my mother methodically emptied my drawers into garbage bags. Her lips were pressed into a thin line, the same expression she'd worn 2 hours ago when she discovered I quit my accounting job at her friend's firm. "Mom, please," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "If you just let me explain about the software I'm developing." "Explain what, Elizabeth?" She whirled around, her perfectly manicured hands clutching one of my hoodies. "Explain how you threw away a perfectly good career? How you embarrassed me in front of Susan by quitting without notice? To work on some computer game?" "It's not a game," I tried again. "It's enterprise software for—" "Enough," my father cut me off. "We didn't pay for your business degree so you could become a basement dweller. Either get a real job or get out." I looked around my childhood bedroom, at the walls now bare where my coding diagrams had hung, at the desk where I'd spent countless nights developing my software. They didn't understand. They couldn't see that I wasn't being lazy. I was building something revolutionary. "I have a real job," I said quietly. "I'm an entrepreneur." My father laughed, but there was no humor in it. "An entrepreneur? Is that what you call someone who lives off their parents and plays with computers all day? I've already got interest from investors. The only thing you've got is delusions." He threw my boxes toward the door. "We're done supporting this fantasy. You have until tomorrow morning to get out." "Harold," my mother interjected, but her voice held no real protest. "Maybe we should." "No, Margaret, we've coddled her enough. Look at her brother James, VP of Sales at 28. Her sister Kate, junior partner at a law firm. And what's Elizabeth done? Quit a perfectly good job to chase some pipe dream." I felt something snap inside me. Years of trying to explain my vision, of attempting to make them understand that success didn't always wear a suit and tie, crystallized into a cold, hard determination. "Fine," I said, picking up the nearest box. "I'll leave tonight." My mother's face flickered with momentary concern. "Tonight? But where will you go?" "Don't worry about it." I started gathering my things, moving with a calmness I didn't feel. "You won't have to be embarrassed by your lazy daughter anymore." "Now, Elizabeth," my father's voice held that patronizing tone I'd grown to hate. "If you just come to your senses, apologize to Susan, and get your job back." "No." The word came out sharp and final. "I don't want my job back. I don't want your approval. And I definitely don't want to be another cookie-cutter success story you can brag about at your country club." I pulled my laptop from the box where he'd thrown it, checking for damage. This computer contained months of code, the foundation of what I knew would revolutionize how companies handled their supply chain management. They saw me typing away aimlessly. They didn't see the complex algorithms I was building, the innovative solutions I was creating. "Then get out," my father said coldly. "Don't come crying back when your little computer project fails." 2 hours later, I stood in the small studio apartment my friend Maya had offered to share. The space was tiny, with just enough room for a mattress on the floor and a small desk, but it was mine. More importantly, it was away from the suffocating expectations of my family. My phone buzzed, a message in our family group chat. My sister Kate had already started the character assassination. "Can't believe Elizabeth threw away everything Mom and Dad gave her. So ungrateful. Some of us actually work for a living." I muted the chat and turned to my laptop. They thought I was throwing my life away. Fine, let them think that. I had work to do. The next few months were a blur of coding, instant noodles, and endless cups of coffee. Maya, a graphic designer who understood the entrepreneurial struggle, became my biggest supporter. She helped me design the user interface for my software, turning my complex backend code into something visually appealing. "This is incredible," she said one night, watching me demo the latest version. "You're basically reinventing how companies track and manage their entire supply chain." I nodded, fingers flying over the keyboard as I squashed another bug. Traditional systems are outdated. They can't handle the complexity of modern global supply chains. My software uses AI to predict and prevent bottlenecks before they happen. And your family thinks you're just playing games? I laughed, but it came out bitter. They think anything that doesn't involve a corner office and a pantsuit is a waste of time. 4 months after being kicked out, I got my first break. A small logistics company agreed to beta test my software. The results exceeded even my expectations. They reported a 40% reduction in supply chain disruptions within the first month. Word spread quickly in the industry. Suddenly, my inbox was flooded with meeting requests from investors. The pipe dream my father had dismissed was catching the attention of serious players in the tech world. 6 months in, I closed my first major funding round, $5 million from a prestigious venture capital firm. The lead investor, an older woman named Victoria Chin, saw exactly what my family couldn't. "This isn't just software," she said during our first meeting. "This is a complete paradigm shift in supply chain management. Where did you learn to code like this?" "Self-taught," I replied. "Started when I was 12. My parents thought I was wasting time on the computer." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "And now?" "Now they think I'm a failure who threw away a promising career in accounting." She laughed. "Well, Elizabeth, in my experience, the best entrepreneurs are often the ones nobody believes in, ready to prove them wrong." I thought about my father's thundering voice, my mother's disappointment, my siblings' mockery. More than ready. With Victoria's backing, I moved my company, now officially named Next Chain Solutions, into real offices. I hired a team of developers to help refine the software, brought on experienced sales staff, and started actively pursuing major clients. A year after being thrown out of my parents' house, NextChain landed its first Fortune 500 client. The day they signed the contract, worth $2.7 million, I received a text from my brother James. "Hey sis, heard you're still playing entrepreneur. When are you going to grow up and get a real job? Mom and Dad are worried sick." I deleted the message without responding. They'd find out soon enough what their lazy daughter had been building. But I had no idea just how perfectly the universe would orchestrate that revelation. It started with a news article that caught my eye one morning. Global Solutions Corp facing supply chain crisis. The company was hemorrhaging money due to massive disruptions in their distribution network. Their outdated systems couldn't handle the complexity of their global operations. Global Solutions Corp, where my father had worked as regional manager for the past 20 years. I sat back in my chair, a plan forming in my mind. My company was now valued at over $100 million. We had a proven track record of solving exactly the kind of problems Global Solutions was facing. It was time to submit a proposal. What happened next would change everything, not just for Global Solutions, but for my family's perception of their worthless daughter. I picked up my phone and called Victoria. "Remember how you said sometimes success is the best revenge?" I asked. I think I found the perfect opportunity to prove that theory. Little did my family know, their world was about to be turned upside down by the very person they'd thrown away like garbage. The lazy daughter was about to become their boss, and I was going to savor every moment of it. The Global Solutions Corp boardroom buzzed with nervous energy. Through the glass walls of my office next door, I watched as executives filed in, my father among them. He looked older than I remembered, his hair grayer, the weight of Global Solutions crisis evident in his posture. "Are you sure about this?" Maya, now my chief marketing officer, asked quietly. "We could send someone else to do the presentation." I smoothed down my tailored channel suit, quite different from the hoodies my mother had thrown into garbage bags 2 years ago. "No, I want to do this myself." "Elizabeth." Victoria Chin, who joined my board of directors, touched my arm. "Sometimes the best revenge isn't showing them who you've become. It's not showing them at all." I smiled, checking my reflection in the window. This isn't about revenge. It's about finally being seen. At exactly 9:00 a.m., I walked into the boardroom. The familiar scent of my father's cologne hit me first, the same brand he'd worn when he'd thrown me out. He was absorbed in his phone, not even bothering to look up at the CEO of the company that could save Global Solutions from collapse. "Good morning," I said clearly, my voice carrying across the room. "I'm Elizabeth Warner, CEO of Next Chain Solutions." My father's head snapped up so fast I heard his neck crack. His face went from red to white to gray in a span of seconds. Around the table, other executives were opening their presentation packets, oblivious to the drama unfolding. "As you know," I continued, clicking to the first slide, "Global Solutions has been experiencing significant supply chain disruptions. Our analysis suggests these issues are costing you approximately $47 million per quarter." My father's hands were trembling as he reached for his water glass. I wondered if he was remembering his last words to me. Don't come crying back when your little computer project fails. NextChain's proprietary software has demonstrated consistent success in resolving exactly these types of systemic failures. Our latest client reported a 78% reduction in disruptions within the first 3 months of implementation. I walked them through the presentation, laying out exactly how my computer game could save their company millions. The other executives were leaning forward, clearly impressed. My father sat frozen, looking like he'd seen a ghost. Ms. Warner, Global Solutions CEO, Mr. Harrison, interrupted. These results are remarkable, but implementing a complete system overhaul, it's a massive undertaking. How can you assure our board this will work? I smiled, clicking to a slide showing our client list. Perhaps Mr. Morrison could speak to that, given his extensive experience in regional operations. Dad, what do you think? The room went silent. Mr. Harrison looked between us, confusion evident on his face. Dad? My father cleared his throat, but no words came out. Oh, I apologize for the confusion, I said smoothly. Harold Morrison is my father. Though we haven't spoken since he threw me out 2 years ago for being, what was the word? Yes, worthless. The silence in the room grew heavier. Mr. Harrison's eyes narrowed as he looked at my father. Harold, you know this software. You've seen its capabilities. My father straightened his tie, visibly struggling to regain his composure. I wasn't aware of the scope of Elizabeth's project. Project? I raised an eyebrow. NextChain Solutions is currently valued at $400 million, Dad. We have offices in 4 countries, but you'd know that if you'd bothered to return any of Aunt Susan's calls. She's been trying to tell you about our success for months. Mr. Harrison held up his hand. Let me get this straight. We've been bleeding money for months, and you had a direct connection to the CEO of the company that could solve our problems. My father's face had taken on a sickly hue. I didn't know. Because you didn't want to know, I finished for him. Just like Mom didn't want to know what I was actually working on. Just like Kate and James didn't want to know why I quit that accounting job. It was easier to believe I was lazy and worthless than to accept I had a different vision of success. The boardroom door opened and Maya walked in with a stack of contracts. The implementation documents, Ms. Warner. Thank you. I turned back to Mr. Harrison. Our team is prepared to begin immediately. The only question is whether Global Solutions is ready to innovate, or if you prefer to continue losing $47 million per quarter while clinging to outdated systems. Mr. Harrison didn't hesitate. How soon can you start? We can have the first phase implemented within 2 weeks. I placed the contracts on the table, though there is one condition. Which is? I met my father's eyes. The project will require a complete restructuring of your supply chain management team, including new leadership. My father's chair scraped back as he stood up. This is ridiculous. You can't just walk in here and... Harold, Mr. Harrison's voice cut like steel. Sit down. Ms. Warner, please continue. 3 hours later, I sat in my office, looking out over the city. The contracts were signed. Global Solutions was now NextChain's biggest client to date. And my father. He would soon be working under a management team that answered directly to me. My phone buzzed. A message from my mother. Elizabeth, please call us. We need to talk. Another buzz, my sister Kate. OMG, Dad just told us what happened. Why didn't you tell us about your company? And James, hey sis, about those messages I sent. Can we meet for coffee? I set the phone aside without responding. Let them wait. Let them wonder. Let them finally see what I'd been trying to show them all along. A knock at my door pulled me from my thoughts. Maya stood there, holding a bottle of champagne. Your father is still in the building. He's asking to speak with you. I considered it for a moment, sent him in. He entered my office like a different man. Gone was the thundering authority figure who'd thrown me out. In his place stood someone older, smaller, and distinctly uncertain. Elizabeth, he started, then stopped, looking around my corner office with its floor-to-ceiling windows and modern art. I don't know what to say. That's a first. I gestured to a chair. 2 years ago, you had plenty to say about my career choices. He sat heavily, his eyes fixed on the NextChain logo behind my desk. We were wrong. I was wrong. If I had just listened. You would have had a significant stake in a $400 million company, I finished, instead of reporting to its management team. He flinched. About that, the restructuring is non-negotiable. I leaned forward. You wanted me to learn about real business, Dad? Well, here's a lesson. Sometimes the lazy daughter playing computer games in her room is actually building an empire. And sometimes the people who throw her away end up working for her. Elizabeth, please, we're family. I stood up, smoothing my skirt. No, Dad, we were family. You ended at the night you threw me out. Now we're just CEO and employee. I suggest you take the weekend to decide if you can handle that relationship. If not, HR will be happy to discuss your retirement options. He left my office a broken man, and for a moment I felt a twinge of guilt. But then I remembered the boxes thrown at my door, the sneering texts from my siblings, the endless dismissal of my dreams. My phone buzzed again, my mother, this time with a different approach. Sweetie, we're having dinner at home tonight. Your favorite lasagna. Please come, we need to make this right. I typed back my first response to any of them. Can't tonight. Board meeting. Some of us actually work for a living. The same words Kate had thrown at me 2 years ago. Petty. Perhaps. Satisfying. Absolutely. Victoria appeared in my doorway. Dinner? A few of us are celebrating a global solutions deal. I grabbed my coat, leaving my still buzzing phone on the desk. Lead the way. I think I've handled enough family matters for one day. As we rode the elevator down, Victoria smiled. You know, revenge success is the sweetest kind. Trust me, I know. I thought about my father's face when he realized who I was, my mother's sudden desire to reconcile, my siblings' desperate attempts to rewrite history. It's not about revenge, I said finally. It's about showing them that success doesn't always look the way they think it should. Sometimes it looks like a lazy daughter with a laptop and a dream. Victoria laughed. Well, this lazy daughter just landed a $50 million contract. I'd say that's worth celebrating. Later that night, in my penthouse apartment, quite different from the mattress on Maya's floor, I looked out at the city lights and thought about how far I'd come. My laptop sat on the desk, the same one my father had thrown in a box, now responsible for software that would save his company millions. Success, I'd learned, doesn't always wear a suit and tie. Sometimes it wears hoodies and codes until dawn. Sometimes it quits real jobs to chase dreams. And sometimes, just sometimes, it comes back to offer jobs to the very people who said it would never amount to anything. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from my father. I'll take the job. And Elizabeth. I'm sorry. For everything. I didn't respond. He'd learned soon enough that in business, just like in family, actions speak louder than words. And on Monday morning, his actions would include reporting to the daughter he'd once called worthless. Sometimes life has a way of coming full circle. Sometimes the basement dweller becomes the CEO. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply becoming exactly who you always knew you could be, even if no one else could see it.